At school, it was mostly fighting that got me into trouble. Academically wise, I wasn't good at anything. I was never a bully. I hate bullies. But I found that I quite enjoyed defending my friends. Well, I started in the army. I was probably about 17 and a half. Didn't do very well in school. Bit of a naughty boy. Decided maybe it was time to sort my life out. I was going nowhere. For me, it was a case of, it was kind of my last avenue to go down to. You know, it was maybe the army would make me, if not break me, and I didn't think that. So that's really why I chose the army. My army days from 18 to nearly 22 had a huge bearing on the person that I am today. The friends that I grew up with who were boxers, I mean Paul Allett, Leigh Edwards, Malcolm Barnes, my best friend, which was Byron Pullen, who died very young, who was a tremendous athlete all round, you know, great rugby player, good footballer, great boxer. Those were the kind of people that I grew up with. But for me, it was rugby. It was nothing else, it was rugby, until I joined the army. So that's really at 18 where my passion for boxing really started. from that first training session to my first contest, it was, I don't know what happened to me, but it was something that I really needed. It was, I think it's something where it strips you so bare as a person. There's no one to rely on. If you don't put the effort and your training in, then you lose. You show and you feel the same fear as the next person, you know? It's just the way you deal with that fear. Whether you win or lose, just pitting yourself against yourself. You know, you don't really want to be in there, but you do want to be in there. You don't really want to, you know, pound away at someone else, but you do. But when it's all over, whether you've won or lost, and you know you've done everything you can to win that fight, it is a real special moment. When that final bell goes, and your arms go around each other, and for the rest of your days, you know, you'll have respect for your opponent, is something special in that kind of sport. It's just you and your soul. You know, everything that you do is just off your own back. It's your own will, it's your own desire, and that's what makes it such a great spectacle. I just couldn't see my life, you know, without it. Just the training, and you know, and the older I get, it doesn't seem to dim. It doesn't seem to get any, you know, less of a, you know, of a fantastic feeling I get from it. But boxing for me is the pinnacle. Came out of the army. I worked for a bit on the markets with the family. Family had a business in the markets. There was a few jobs I went between, and then obviously the cum came up, which is the coke ovens. It was a very hard physical job because of it was just like stepping back 100 years in time, you know, with the machinery, the conditions up there were just unbelievable, you know, and even though it was a horrible, dirty job, you know, an 8-hour shift became a 16-hour shift, you know, with only one weekend off in a month. I think every week or every month there was suggestions of making coke is, you know, it's going to come to an end one day, and I think it worried everybody, especially with the families, you know, it was a lot of pressure on us, and, you know, constantly worrying about, will it shut, will it stay open? You could feel, you know, the tension in the air. That was the bad side of the cum, you know. It's just a small Welsh village, you know, which is, it's an honest village, you know. I think we all felt the thing that was running through our minds most of all was supporting our family. So there was always a worry about being finished, and then the next step would be, you know, what am I going to do next? Will I be able to support the family? When I became ill, I think we were going on holiday, so for that year, I just ploughed all the overtime in. So I would go from doing an 8-hour shift to doing 16-hour shifts. So in a week, it could fall, I would do 96 hours, in 1 week. But at the same time, I would still keep up my training. So I'd do a 16-hour shift, come straight home from the come straight into the garage. I would do an hour's boxing and an hour's weights, go and try to get some kip. I'd probably have 5 hours sleep, then I'd be up again to hit my next shift till it caught up with me. I became ill, but I couldn't tell you why or what was the matter with me. I just felt ill. And then I can remember going into my shift on an afternoon, and I virtually, midway, well, just towards the end of the shift, I couldn't move, just shut down. And I was getting worse and worse until the end I went to the doctors. Doctors took blood tests. They couldn't find anything wrong with me and suggested I see a specialist, which I did. And he diagnosed chronic fatigue, or ME, which I hadn't even heard of, you know. And he said it would take a minimum of 2 years to recover, which it just, you know, you could have knocked me down with a feather, you know. I just couldn't believe it.
Jump off the end into a clear lake. No one around.
I couldn't do anything for 18 months. I was virtually bedridden. And then after the 18 months, I started doing everything that they said I shouldn't do. I was advised to do short amount of times of exercise, meaning, you know, one day could I walk halfway up the stairs and come back down. Whereas as soon as they said exercise to me, it was, right, let's get in the garage, let's see if I can, you know, bang out 10 rounds. And of course I couldn't. I would come in, do some training, I'd pass out. My wife would come in and find me on the floor. I was getting better every year. I would get better and better and better. Still have the bad days, but in total, for total recovery, it took me 12 years. I think the fact that I couldn't train anymore, I don't think anyone will know how much that really hurt me. For me, it was the way I dealt with everything. If I was stressed, I'd exercise. If I had a bad day in work, I'd exercise. Whatever happened to me, I would always find exercise. The depression that came from that was just so overwhelming, but it wasn't depression because I was down, it was depression from the illness that I had. It was as if I was in a bad place in my life, you know. For so many years, it was like being in hell because I couldn't use my training.
The water's clear. And innocent.
When the illness started really tailing off, and I could do things consistently, I'd been unable to train for so many years, and when it finally started to lift, it was like birthdays, Christmases, you know, it was like the lottery, everything thrown into one. The person I used to be was gone, and I hadn't seen him for years and years, and then all of a sudden there was like a real light, you know, and here comes the man I used to be.
Wake from your sleep, the drying of your tears today. We escape. We escape.
I'm not just saying that it was good for me, but my family could see me coming back as well, because they could see how happy I was as well. And being able just to come in here and train and to give everything that I got to the sport I love, just fantastic.
Keep breathing. Don't lose your nerve.
Well, I talk about coming in here, and in here is the garage. This is where it all happens. And I mean, if you look around here, it's the most crappiest garage anyone can put together. It's asbestos roof, but to me, this holds so many memories. And the amount of people from this village who's come into this garage, everybody calls it the house of pain, and which kind of, it puts people off, but it shouldn't. I've had so many people come in here and learning boxing with me, and they love it. I think you look around, I've got so many posters that over the years I put up, and it's just a project still going strong. It's my place. It's the place that I come, when I need to train, or it's a place I come where I need to think. It's from a real shoddy, crappy garage. It means the world to me. It's my garage. I think life in general for everybody it is a battle. You go through a lot of things in your life. It's not a practice life. It's a one-off, and I think most of life is a battle. It was a constant battle in school with my education. As soon as I joined the army, that was a constant battle. When illness hit me, that was another battle. Boxing has always been a battle. So I would say my life has constantly been defeating my enemy, which is not always the other man in the other corner. I'm a middle-aged man now, and I'm sure I got a lot more battles to come. But coming back to the garage, I would say this is where it all happens. This is where I fight. This is where I come to console myself. This is where I come to relax. And this, above everything else, is where I come for peace.
We hope that you choke, that you choke.